This is a public hearing. Anyone in the public wish to address this item may come to the microphone and state your name.
My name is Rebecca Van Wagner. I'm at 4228 Fawn Meadow Circle. And I'm married to this man. First of all, I want to say that I understand why people would be concerned. There were lots of twists and changes and things that happened. And we all were taken by surprise at where we are right now. I believe that the citizens deserve to know what is true and what is not true. And I am glad that people are asking questions. We want to understand what the concerns are so that we can answer the questions. Whatever the gentleman left in that packet, he made some comments, and our family has paid a dear price over the years for the accusation against us because of the properties that we lost when the market crashed. And I'd like to bring some clarification to that. We invested in real estate outside of ministry in order to provide retirement, and our hope was to create income outside of the church so that we would not have to take a paycheck from the church. When the market took a turn, people stopped paying us rent. I think we had 12 or 13 properties. Some were short-term, some were long-term. We studied and learned how to invest. We started from scratch, just like we did with the church. When it comes to capability and ability, I understand why you would have question as to what he's able to do. But I will tell you that everything that we have now, the church, Sky Zone, the school, 31 years in this community, started with nothing. He knows how to manage people. He manages right now 225 people on a daily basis because he has leadership that are put in place. I want to clarify that we did not, although we lost those properties, we never filed bankruptcy. We worked our way out of each one of those properties, paying our debt 100%, one by one. And I have waited for years to make this public statement so that I can stop once and for all with the price that our family has paid because there have been lies and accusations against us. But I am making the statement now, and I want this council to know that we have no problem with the questions that are asked. We gladly answer them, and I will tell you also that there was no conversation of him being a city manager until after the election. This was the furthest thing for us. There was not even a consideration that he would be a position. And when it was first asked, our response was absolutely not. There's no way that we would even consider doing that. And I say we because it affects the whole family. It's not just him, it's our whole family. We're here to serve the community, to honor the election that just took place. Mr. Mayor, congratulations. We're here to honor the wishes of the people, but we're also here to answer the questions that people have. And to tell you that his heart is to serve this city. There are a lot of things that you can fake, but you can't fake 31 years of service to a city. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? This is a public hearing. Anyone in the public wish to address the item may come to the microphone and state your name and address and how, well, whatever. Anyone else? Seeing no one else, I close public comment and bring it back to council. What say council?
So, since nobody wants to speak up, I'll go. I get that people are surprised by this. People have wondered, and I did work with a city manager. I found him to be untrustworthy, and our relationship did not work. Other people worked with him and found that same thing. That's how this ended up to be a 4-1 vote. It was not just the newcomers, and it was not just me. So we had problems at city management level, and they've been resolved. We now have a choice to move forward. Finding an interim city manager who has the time, effort, and energy, along with the knowledge. There's less than a handful of people who live in Claremont who can do this. Is it a unique? Sure, it's unique. You know, we could have went and said, oh, we need a technocrat who just knows city law inside and out. But I don't believe that was the issues facing the city of Claremont. Much of the city of Claremont, the issues we were facing was just lack of business leadership, lack of an understanding of how to get this organization moving. In 5 days, he's worked over 80 hours. I've been on the phone with him a couple times late. As a matter of fact, one day I told him I didn't want to hear from him until Monday, and he still called me on Sunday again. So do I feel like he's doing the work? And when he tells you he worked 80 hours, that doesn't include the time that he called any of us after hours, that he called and spoke with other folks from the community who may have called him. You know, in my heart of hearts, I feel that this was the right decision. And for anybody who questions that, you know, knowing that I'm the face of this, I'm okay with that. I absolutely believe that Rick Van Wagner was the right person. And, you know, some of the vetting, I'm aware of the vetting. Matter of fact, I'm very aware of the red light. I got a red light ticket. You know, a lot of that stuff was there, but there was also conversations that went behind the red lights, and that it was a safety factor and it was going to save lives. And so for those of us who have been here and remember these conversations, when we're actively involved in these conversations, we do remember what happened, and we do. And so when people hand me stuff like this, it's a partial truth. And this partial truth was written by a lady named Lauren Ritchie. And I will tell you right now, I know Lauren Ritchie, she's in my cell phone. She wrote opinion pieces. This is not journalism. It was what Lauren Ritchie felt. I've got a good relationship with her, I can call her now. She never wrote anything bad about me, but she certainly had an opinion of people like Sean Parks, of people like Rick Van Wagner. And so when we go back and we read these things that are more than a decade old, they didn't stand the test of time. She wrote what her opinion was, and it wasn't always fact-based. So for me, on this contract, I think we need to cure a couple concerns, but I fully believe that Rick is the right person, that he is invested in this community, that he's invested in this job, and I believe that we will move this along quickly. I believe this council now has the opportunity, through the RFQ process, to go out and go find that next person. But right now, this is the person we have. And we've heard that, oh, we didn't have a city manager and this and that and the other. And when we listen to what Mayor Murray has said previously, that it was a terrible time, it was very difficult. And if we look at those mistakes of the past were because we promoted people from within. And so who are we going to ask? Were we going to ask Chief Broadway to do that and take a chance of losing him as our chief? I mean, he's a superstar. Were we going to do that to Kurt? I mean, name off the number of people at the top level who could have done this, and are we willing to lose them because they were a great employee? And I think that would have been a disservice to this city. And so by going out and finding somebody who has business experience, who understands the way the city works, and who has relationships with the county, with other municipalities, it's moving us forward. There's no perfect person out there for this job, but there was only a handful. And I can promise you that this wasn't, you know, Ms. Van Wagner stated it, this wasn't an overnight. This was a, who do we have, what can we find, and who's available? And I can promise you that I had a lot of no's. I had a lot of foul language, are you kidding me no's. People, this is a tough job, he's in a tough position, and you know, I get that people are not going to like this, and I'm okay with that. I stand behind it. Being the face of it, it will absolutely affect me as the person who sits here. If he's successful, then I look great. If he fails, it's on me. And I'm okay with that because I believe 100% that he will do the right thing even when nobody's looking. I believe that he has pushed very hard in this first week. I have not heard a single complaint from a single staff member about where he's going, what he's doing, and how much he's working. So for me, you know, we just have to figure out the few things in this contract and do our jobs and put him in place. And then for everybody who wants to have these big looks and how are we going to do this, that's what the RFQ process is. And when we go into the RFQ process, we can all nominate people from the community and we can go through that big, long process. But the interim doesn't have that opportunity. And right now we have a guy who has the ability to do it, the willingness to do it, and the capability to do it. So I'm going to support him with some clarifications within this services agreement.
Anyone else?
I think that I'm interested, Mr. Van Wagner, and I know where your heart is. That's why I supported you in this position. I do know where your heart is for this city. And Becky, I can only begin to imagine having to expose, you know, thank you for sharing, by the way, about paying those debts. I wasn't aware of that. And that says even more about you that I didn't know. I do think the concern about, I have mixed feelings, but I recognize the concern and the question and suggestion, which I appreciate, of can you take a leave of absence? And where I'm conflicted on that, and I want for transparency purposes, is I don't ask a city manager not to join the Boy Scouts. And be a leader in the Boy Scouts and dedicate the time to that. I don't ask a city manager not to coach a t-ball team. I don't ask a city manager not to serve on other boards. I wouldn't ask a city manager to do that, especially for an interim period. I mean, this is temporary. And it could be, I don't think so, but it could be 10 days. Well, hopefully it could be 15, I guess, at this point. But I think that we as a council, it goes to the 90-day piece. I think we really, rather than searching for another interim city manager, which I think would be, I mean, we're searching for the city manager at that point. And I think that that is where we need to focus our efforts, is finding the right permanent city manager so you can get back to doing your job at the church and the good work that you do and have done for 31 years in this community. I have no interest in dragging it out. I want to say that to you. I want to say it to everyone on this council. Personally, I would like to see us addressing at the January 14th meeting any applications that we have, which is why I don't want a 6 to 8 week process that we have to go through RFP. I don't like getting in, I don't want to delay. I want to push through. Doesn't mean we have qualified candidates at that point. We might not. But I think that the city manager position should be on the agenda, not review city manager contracts. Don't take that the wrong way. I know I alluded to that earlier, but I think it should be so that we can start the process of getting a list of city managers that we think meet a criteria that we'll establish after this, and going through the public vetting process. I have been counseled by people that care about me personally and people who care about this city that the single most important part of the city manager recruitment process is the public opportunity to meet and interact with that city manager. That's going to take time because we'll have to get 4 or 5 city managers to travel here from wherever in the country or world that they are at the same time and set up public meetings and give people a chance to review and put together the questionnaire, review the questionnaire, come together potentially in a workshop. I'm not sure, probably. Okay, so this is going to take time. And if we do that for the interim city manager at this point, we're just prolonging a process that puts us back into the 2019-2020 lull that we were in. And I don't want to do that. And I absolutely share your concerns, Mr. Howard. I was really not wanting to. In fact, I'm glad you came up with the solution that you did. I think it was creative. I'd never would have imagined that. So I commend you on your creativity and your care for the city, because I did not want to hire someone from within. I've seen too many in private business and also in this city, too many very good employees step up to serve because they have care in their heart, and then we lose them as really good employees because it just isn't the right position. They're not in that position for a reason. So I would like to move forward today. I'm prepared to make a motion. I took notes on the things that we talked about, and unless someone wants to make a motion, I'm happy to do that now, but I don't want to cut anyone off who might want to state other points.
Okay, well, I call for a motion. Let me say this. There was a lot of different things said here, and about different people and everything, and I can probably address most of them and a lot of them here. I've been knowing Mr. Van Wagner for quite a while. You know, we worked together on some other things in the past and everything. I always considered him a friend, okay, over the years and everything. And I know some people seem to think I got animosity towards him because he ran against me. I don't have any animosity, okay? I mean, why should I have animosity? I won the election. So what I have to be upset about, okay? But at the same time, we ran the election, he lost the election. And as someone said earlier, somebody came up earlier and said, the people spoke through their votes, and you're right. They voted, they said they didn't want him to be here and to see this mayor, but then we have the audacity to turn around and vote and ask him, put him in as the city manager, even a higher position with more control and everything over the city than it is as mayor. That's like a slap in the face of all those voters out there. You're not listening to the voters, okay? Those are the comments I'm getting from the people out there. How can they do that? Our vote didn't mean nothing. Now you all of you new to the council, y'all happy and you're appreciating the people that voted for you and you're thrilled about it, but then you're rejecting other people that voted the other way, as if they have no say-so in this, okay? For the first thing, that's the main thing I've got. I mean, I've been called several times, and every time people come to me, ask me, how can they do this? Hey, you have to come and ask them, okay? It doesn't sit well with me, and it has nothing personal to do with me. You know, I mean, Mr. Benson, my employment or whatever I do outside this council has nothing to do with. It's totally two different things. Since Miss Strange, Mr. Howard here, they both have businesses. Are they supposed to give up their businesses? They still sitting on this council. They getting paid. It has nothing to do. It's a totally different atmosphere over there as that city manager. That's why it's in the contract that he should not be employed anywhere else due to conflict of interest. When he have to deal with everything going on in the city, everyday operation, that's where the problem come in. Not with these elected officials up here. Okay, because let me tell you something. If it's the fact that we couldn't work nowhere, you wouldn't have no elected officials, because guess what? You don't pay us enough to sit here and feed our family if we don't have other jobs. I'm fortunate enough, I got a pretty good retirement. I don't work anywhere else and everything. Thank God, he blessed me. So I don't have to work elsewhere, but I know Mr. Howard has his job, his business. Ms. Strange is working. I know Mr. Peterson is working. I don't think Miss Myers is working, but we're fortunate. So we can't look at compare the two. Yeah, I can say we may need to change the direction. That's one of the reasons I ran, but 4 years ago, because I thought the city needed a change in direction. What I was hearing and what I was seeing out here, seeing up on this dais, I was totally embarrassed. That's one of the reasons I ran. Okay, to make a change. And I thought we had the city going in a good direction. Yeah, I served here for 12 months, almost 12 months without a city manager. Of course, in the meantime, we had an interim city manager that was on staff, which is normally the procedure. When a person usually, when a city usually get rid of city manager, they usually hire somebody on staff because they're knowledgeable and have somewhat knowledge of what's going on in the city. Yeah, the one they put in before was she couldn't handle it, but that's only one person. There wasn't a whole lot of people lost, quit their job, or we lost a lot of people because they were made, it was only one person that couldn't handle it after 5-6 months of being there, and I don't blame her because she had no knowledge. They took her from HR, human resource. They took her from human resource and stuck in this position. This is a pretty tough position, okay? And I know the requirements. Yeah, he's working 14, 15 hours a day. That's because he does not know. He's trying to learn. So he's going to have to work 14, 15 hours a day. Just like when I got elected, I put in a lot of hours just trying to figure out what am I doing, especially when I didn't have a city manager. I put in a lot of hours, okay? But that's the way it calls for, and that's what's going on. And I don't care who it is come in here. It's a lot of other people out in the business world. If you just wanted a business person, somebody to run a business, we have a lot of candidates out there. And like I say, the biggest problem with me is the fact that when you do this, you slap 12,000 people in the face. That 12,000 people that voted for me, they voted saying no, they didn't want him here. And the reason they voted for him, because them same things that you just saw in that report, they knew about him. Okay?
Mr. Murry, he's not leading the city. He serves at the pleasure of this council.
He served at the pleasure of the council. And Miss Strange, I think you need to understand what kind of government we have here. We have a strong city mayor manager's government, which means he sits up there. He makes all the calls on finance and all that. He's responsible. Yeah, he comes back to us. Okay.
Right. And I think that's what you say to people who express that concern. I think it's a valid concern.
Well, I say this, but yet
explaining
still,
to them that
he's up there with your money.
By working with him serving you, the person he lost to.
Well, let me say this.
It demonstrates a professionalism and a respect for one another as humans, that he is submitting to serve at the pleasure of the mayor to whom he lost, that he can be terminated on any given day. And it also demonstrates your leadership, that if you believe that he is qualified to lead, because he needs to lead. Our city manager needs to lead, as he said. And I believe we have extremely competent staff. I'm not going to tell Chief Broadway how to do his job. I'm not going to tell Mr. Fountain how to do his job. I'm not going to tell Mr. Henschel how to do his job. And the city manager shouldn't be either. The city manager is there to direct the staff and lead the staff and support the staff in the things that we direct that city manager to do. My concern with this conversation is it sounds like you may want to hire someone else. And I just want to frame that for you. Is there someone else? Because there was no one else last week that was put up. We didn't have another person last week. And if there is someone else, are we really going to go through the process of removing him at this point to put another person in there who has to learn all the things that he's been doing the last 2 weeks, or the last week, feels like 2 weeks, with the effort that he's put in on the roads and the county? Is that the communication we want to have to the staff, that we just change our minds? I understand. This was not my idea. I think it was a brilliant idea, all things considered, but it wasn't something that occurred to me either. And I think to remember, the citizens voted for you as mayor, Mr. Mayor, and there is no doubt how much you love this city. There is no doubt. I think everybody, whether they voted for you or not, understands how much you love this city. And right now, to Vinny's point, if we come together, the five of us, and we move forward and not belabor this is painful for the folks in the audience. It really is. We need to make a decision on this, make a decision on the city manager, and get what are they called? The job postings out for the CM and the attorney so that we can make permanent decisions, so that we can have stability. And that's what we need to have. And I think that you cannot, Mr. Mayor, you are the mayor of this city. That is the highest position in this city. It has bothered me that your name and your face isn't the top picture in that hallway, sir. You are the mayor.
Ma'am, Miss Springs, can I ask you one favor, please?
Sure.
When you ask to speak, I let you speak without interruption, okay? Can I continue to say what I had to say without interruption?
But remember, the
yes.
rules require that we are supposed to demonstrate a sense of camaraderie and create a sense of comfort for the citizens. We have to work together in that. All I'm asking is that we do that. That's it. That's all I'm asking.
As I said earlier, a few minutes ago, understand the type of city government you have, okay?
I understand
Mayor, yeah, I sit on the top of that picture, but right next to me, before me, to the other side, is the city manager.
It's not correct, sir.
Yes, okay. The city manager is responsible for the day-to-day operation.
Yes.
Yes, we are responsible for providing guidance and policies and everything else. But what's going on here every day and everything, because I'm not here, you're not here, and nobody else. You're making decisions all day long, every day, that none of us know anything about, okay? Unless he's keeping you informed, okay? And of course, to be honest with you, I've had this conversation with him, and I told him I don't want to know everything the little minor things go on every day. Same thing I told Mr. Botice, even though he kept me informed with just about everything that went on. You know, you don't have to call me every day with everything. That's his position. I understand the fact that your responsibility is the day-to-day operation of the city, and that's what you get paid for. That's why we pay him that money. So, hey, trust me, been in positions and leadership positions and all that, and I know how to stay in my lane, okay? It's his job to run the city, so I stay here. He called me, asked me for advice. We have a problem. We sit down, we talk about it. But to just make you understand the fact that, yes, he has more power than me, okay? I'm only one voter.
His job is to execute the vision and the budget according to the policies established by this council.
Okay. Well, I'll move on. But anyway, it's like I said earlier, it's one of these things that you're slapping the people in the face with here, and I've had the conversation with Mr. Van Wagner, and I'm gonna tell you, I consider myself a professional. I'm gonna work with Mr. Van Wagner and everybody up here on this dais, like I've always have been, okay? And whether we see eye to eye or not, you know, I'm always try to make the best decision for the city and the residents of this city. That's what it's all about. And for you all to do this is not representing the city and making the best decision after the voters have spoken. Now, I gotta go and say it again. You can sit here and you can say the voters spoke and mention it, but yet and still you turn around and do this. Okay, you got two standards here. As long as they speaking in your favor, it's okay. When they speaking somewhere in another way, it's not sitting well with you all. And that's what I see going on here. I'm not sure if anyone else gotten all the phone calls, but that's one of the busiest things I've done since last Tuesday night is have to answer, how can you all do this? How is it that someone just lost the election for mayor ended up being our city manager? And that's not coming from the everyday citizen. This is permanent business owners and everybody else, and very well established people in the community asking me this. See, and what can I say? Okay, it's been going on, and it's something. And I guess the other part with me, because I'm out there, am talking to people every day in the community and everything, I think you'll probably find some people around here that I told prior to this happened that this was going to happen. Okay? Because it wasn't something just came up overnight, Miss Strange. I knew it was going to happen 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I had already warned a couple of people that's what's going to happen, okay?
Okay.
See, it's like it was orchestrated, okay? That's another thing that people are upset about, okay? And don't take the people of Plymouth for granted. These people sit out there, they see what's going on. And that's what they sitting here telling me, you know? They sat there and they watched that meeting the other night and they come in to me and saying, hey, you can tell it was planned. Yes, I know. And of course, but some people came to me and said, you told me that it was going to happen. I said, yeah. Because see, we're in a small community. Even though it's 48,000, 49,000 people here, people talk. And things get out. So the word got back to me over 3 weeks ago. Okay, and I agree, we got one of the best staffs. I love my people, the workers here in the city. And I'll say it all the time, and I've been saying it since when I first got elected as mayor, we had a morale problem. We had a serious morale problem in this city. Okay, staff, and I mean, people were leaving left and right, and every time I asked them, the pay was low. They would get better jobs here, and they didn't like that. Basically, under the last regime, they could not even talk to council members and stuff. Okay.
Right.
And that's one of my biggest concerns when we were sitting down looking at a city manager, finding somebody with good human resource techniques that can come in and boost the morale of our workers. And we got there. And as I said to them in the employee breakfast on Thursday, we faced some challenges before, and we're going to be facing some challenges again. The morale and what we've gained over the last 3 or 4 years is outstanding, and I don't want to see that wasted. So we need to come together and work together and face these challenges. One of the conversations I had with Mr. Van Wagner was the fact that I asked him to make sure he take care of the people. See, because I'm sitting there and I know their fears and the tension and everything else that's going on because they fear the job. They don't know because of the people talking. See, there's a lot of talk going on out there. These people, I mean, these are very good workers. They're the backbone of the city. But yet and still, they're working under this fear of, am I going to have a job tomorrow? Am I going to have this? Because people running out there saying all these crazy things all the time. And that's one of the main things I said to him the other day, is the fact that, hey, I'm gonna work with him. And I'm going to give him my best, and everything. But his thing is to make sure he take care of these people. Okay?
Do you have concerns with the way he's taken care of them the last week?
Well, I haven't. I've been trying to be honest with you. Like I say, I'm the type of person, I'm going to stay out of his way. I'm letting him do his thing. But if the people want to come and talk to me, that's fine. But I'm not going to walk down here and try to go behind his back. I know my place. Like I said, I told you before, I stay in my lane. Okay? Until somebody come in. If they want to come and talk to me, that's fine. I think a lot of them are feeling a little bit more at ease, but it's still a lot of people still nervous because they still don't know what's what right now. A lot of them haven't been put at ease.
Well, I think what they need to hear from us is that we're moving forward, that we're together as a group, that we're looking to find a new city manager, that it's clear what the qualifications of that city manager are, and that the future looks bright. The current gentleman sitting in the seat just complimented the staff and said how wonderful they are. I think that's what they need to hear, and that they need to see us working forward together. I think that's what they need to see.
Well, like I say, I consider myself a professional, and I will always work. I've been in a lot of different positions where I may not agree with things going on, but hey, I did what I had to do to make sure everything was successful, and that's the way I am. I am a team player, okay? But I'm not going to sit here and just try to work with you all and not call out the wrongdoings, okay? Because like I say, anything I see that I don't think you're doing for the people, for the betterment of this city and the people.
And I heard you the first and second and the third time, Mr. Mayor.
See?
We need to be succinct in making our points. I commit to doing the same.
And I heard Miss Van Wagner talk about that. I'm glad she opened that with the package you all got. And and everything else, see, the people knew about these things. See?
Sure.
And their concern, as they expressed to me, it's been, I was around during that time, but I didn't lose my money. It was bad vision, okay? And that's their concern. Wow. That a couple of them expressed to me, that's why they looked at me and said they just couldn't vote for him because.
Mr. Mayor, I did not go through all of my concerns with Mr. Boltice at the meeting last week. I did that for the betterment of the city. And I don't think that continuing down this path is for the betterment of the city or the staff. I really think we need to be mindful of the words we're saying and the audience and how it's being received by the audience.
Well, like I say, I speak for a lot of the, I'm quite sure probably a lot of the people in the audience understand what I'm saying and agree with the things I'm saying. Now, I know I'm going to sit here. I'm not going to support this motion and everything, but I know you got the votes to do what you want to do, and that's just the way it is. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to sit here and work, with Mr. Van Wagner, and continue to do what we have to do to move the city forward. And true, we need to do it as soon as possible. It took us 11 months. At least this time we know we need to go out and find a headhunter agency to do it when we get right.
So we shouldn't be talking about that because that's coming up in the next agenda item.
So we need to get that done, but anyone else have anything to say?
There was a motion and a second. We're gonna.
Anyone else has anything, any other discussion? Yes.
I too have gotten complaints from people about how it was done, but it's a viewpoint at this point. I think we need to go ahead and move forward so that we can conduct the business of the city and be mindful how we talk to one another and how we behave, so to speak, as we go forward.
Anyone else? Any further discussion? Hearing none, I think we have a motion and a second with, I can't remember all the,
Oh yeah, what was the other requirements? We said 90 days.
and we did not do anything, change any pay. I'm still not happy with the amount of pay. He is nowhere near qualified to be make that kind of money. Okay.
So we're going to filibuster or we're going to take a vote?
I'm just throwing it out there.
I'm just throwing it out there.
I'm gonna take the vote, but I may want to make sure I get on the record and say, hey, you all always talking about protecting the taxpayers' dollars.
We have. He's making less money, and you've spoke for 20 minutes. Please take the vote.
Sir, did you not speak?
I did not speak for 20 minutes. I've been listening for 20 minutes.
Well, okay.
You're not voting for it. We know that. Please
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Aye. Aye. Four? Okay. Motion passes 4-1.